I'm here going live and my mic is on the other side of the table. Good morning, afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. It's so excited to be here with all of you on St. Patrick's Day. I don't have my green on, but I've got my green lights going. I finally moved my lights over into the new studio space. So yeah, getting things set up. You can probably also notice I moved my desk today, so I'm not like right in front of the window, so there's no, like, weird window glare, but now I have these pictures I don't know. We're still working on it. We're still working on it. Um, hopefully everything's working okay. I didn't test too much before I started hitting the live button. I was just so excited to get on and talk to everyone. Lots to cover today. Oh my gosh, so many comments yesterday flooding that E&M video. Oh my goodness. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, we are going to just go ahead and get into it, and let's get started with today's live stream. Hey everyone, hello to Sybil and to Joy. Hello, hello, hello. We're here with Sabrina, Alexandria. Yeah, I know. I'm glad that everything looks good. I'm trying to get a couple of more lights in here though, because I feel like I need extra. It's always so weird when things are mirrored. I need some more light coming in from like this way for the in. So I've been on this like crazy gear buying spree lately where I'm buying all kinds of things to put in here to make sure that I'm, have the right books, that I have the right camera so that you can see everything that I'm doing correctly, so that I have, um, just everything set up correctly so that it not only, is well set up for education, but also just like looks good, But yeah, we are celebrating today. Um, we are celebrating today because over the weekend I hit 100,000 subscribers on the channel. Um, so freaking excited to be here. Um, so excited to be here with 100,000 subscribers. I'm not 100% sure, I feel like I'm probably the first medical coding channel to hit 100K. There might be some that I'm not aware of, but I'm fairly certain that I'm the first one to hit 100K. I am rapidly like reloading my YouTube studio, waiting for the alert that I can apply for that silver play button. They have to do a little channel review first, make sure that there's nothing, inappropriate going on in the channel, that they would not hand over the silver creator reward. But I am just really, really excited for that. So yeah. Um, Yesterday was a great day because I posted an E&M case study. So I've gotten so many requests to do case studies, and I did a few yesterday where we did examples of E&M services, an emergency department visit, and we did an inpatient hospital stay, and then one where there was like it looked like an office visit, but there was a procedure. So many comments saying, "Hey, Victoria, this was like so helpful. We need more case studies." And definitely will be working towards that, working towards E&M case studies, other case studies. Yeah, I would love to. So here's the thing with the CPT guidelines. So CPT is different from ICD-10-CM. So ICD-10-CM is like free use. It's the whole code set is can be downloaded from the CDC. It can be downloaded from the World Health Organization. It's put out there. There's no copyrights on it. CPT is copyrighted. So while there are things out there like fair use, you can do little samples. They'll allow you to permit it for certain educational purposes. Um, I can't just be like sitting here and reading you the CPT guidelines, because it would almost be the equivalent of like if I just shared with you chunks of the movie Star Wars, which is copyrighted. Like I can't just take 20 minutes out of Star Wars and put it onto YouTube and be like, yeah, this is going to be content on my channel now. Same thing with CPT. It's copyrighted. AMA owns the rights to it. I can't copy my CPT book and send it to you. I can't go over, huge chunks of the text. Um, So there's a lot of thought that would have to go into how do you explain the guidelines without violating the copyrights of the AMA or having to pay them substantial licensing fees, which is where they make most of their money from. Um, so yeah, so that's something to think about when we're working with when we are um working with CPT. Sorry, I'm putting someone in the chat in a timeout here. All righty. So what have we got on here? Courtney is asking, I saw the coder bundle on the AAPC website for the 2024 books. Is that worth getting? Oh my gosh. So here's what happens. And I'm shocked that they have them already out so early. I saw this the other day. Yeah, like the 2024 books. We're still working with 2023. So the ICD-10-CM code set changes October 1st of each year, right? And then HCPCS and CPT changes January 1. So you can purchase a bundle of books, but they won't send you that your 2024 ICD-10 book probably till September. You'll probably get your CPT book maybe in December, and oftentimes HCPCS comes late. You might not get that until January. So when you order them early, oftentimes they'll offer you a discount. So you might want to take advantage of that just because there's going to be a discount for purchasing the whole bundle early, but just understand that they're not going to get to you now until till probably September, December, and January. Congrats on 100K. What are the best assistant software or websites? So if we're talking about kind of like for code lookup, Um, 3M is really good. A lot of people get 3M through their company. So I'm not sure exactly how much it costs to purchase it if you're using it like solo, buying your own subscription, but it is a really good service. If you're a member of the AAPC, oftentimes you can get Codify for a fairly low price, and that's a pretty good one too. I also really like Find a Code. Find a Code's good because it's a little bit more straightforward than Codify is, but those would be the main ones I would suggest. Monica, the video just posted yesterday for the E&M samples. I'll show you. Oop, hold on. It is on the channel. I don't think I've added it to the playlist yet since the video just went up yesterday, but it is mm, here we go. So it's on the channel it's this one, E&M Coding Beginner, and it says Medical Coding Case Study Evaluation and Management. That's the one that has the case study examples that we're going over. But yeah, I mean, the flood of feedback to just please do more E&M case studies is awesome. And yeah, lots of people from different settings that, the peds people always want you to do ped cases. The emergency department people are like, "Oh, do emergency department cases." Can dentists, can you go over shared split? Can you go over incident two? So yeah. And the cool thing is, if you go to the video that I posted yesterday where I do a couple of E&M case studies, um, in the video description, there's a link that you can download them as well, and they are mock cases, so they're not like something I pulled out of an active medical record or anything like that. They are fictitious cases. Would I consider doing a CDEO prep course? So currently, my credentials don't include the CDEO, and in order to license material from the AAPC, in order to teach the prep courses, at least if you want to use their curriculum, the materials that they've already developed, I would have to have that credential currently in order to purchase the licensing rights for those materials. So right now, it's not on the radar because I don't have a CDEO. It's not something that, it's not something I have planned. Um, and since I don't have plans to get the certification, I then can't license it. So if I were to do a prep course, I would have to like do it completely from scratch and develop all of my own materials, and I wouldn't have experience having taken that exam. So right now it's not on the radar, not to say that it won't be at some point, but right now it's just not on my radar. Yeah, Jeanette, incident 2 is a beast. And so many people get confused between incident 2 and split shared. Are there any free websites that would allow me to see what ICD-10s do not go together, exclude each other? I'm not really sure about that one. I know you can get, like, ICD-10 information on ICD-10 data, I think the website is called, but I don't know if they give you information as far as, like, if something is excluded or what have you. Oh, on the topic of, oh, thank you for the I love this purple too. Um, on the topic, though, of evaluation and management. So, one of the places that I go to when I need authority on E&M or I often need other people's input on E&M, other people's, thought processes on how they look at things, and I always wanna go to the experts in the industry, right? Which means I'm a member of NAMUS, which is the Medical Auditing Society. It's, was developed by Shannon DeConda and is part of Doctors Management. They are a phenomenal organization. If you're someone who is looking to get into compliance and you're looking to get into auditing and you want more than just like certification prep, you want to know like what is going on in audit activity. You want to know what to look out for. You want to know how to formulate your corrective action plans for audits. You want to know, case studies. NAMUS. That's the organization that you want to go to. And they have I went to their in-person event in December, and it was phenomenal. I mean, like, so top notch, so top notch. It is, like, a million miles above and beyond what the AAPC provides. Now, I know AAPC is having their convention, which I believe is now tickets are up to, like, 1,400. NamUs is, I think I wanna say $500 if you're a member, 600 for non-members for their conference. They're going over a lot of E&M stuff. They're going over a lot of legal cases. Tony Elholmes, my good friend, is presenting with Shannon to talk about, I believe, risk. I mean, it is gonna be a phenomenal virtual conference. Um, they gave me a code so you can get 10% off, and, one of the things I wanna stress about what's great about this conference is 2 things. It's split up into 2 days, so you don't have to sit in front of your computer for, like, 8 hours straight. And the second thing is, unlike some of these other conferences, you can pay via PayPal, and if you're familiar with paying anything via PayPal, you know that anything over a certain dollar amount with this which this does, you can pay in installment pays. So you can break it down with PayPal credit, or you could pay in just, like, 4 different installments with your PayPal card because they do accept PayPal. So that's gonna be, a really, really amazing conference. Like, if you're looking to learn uh, more advanced information for E&M. You wanna know because like, you're looking at things in cases and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to interpret this. I don't know what, like, the legal or compliance thoughts about interpreting this way would be." Like, that's where they do this. They NamUs, like, deep dives. Like, the questions that sometimes other organizations tiptoe around, NamUs isn't afraid to dive in and go into that and have discussions. Not necessarily give you the answers, but, like, let's discuss, like, what we do when we come up with these things that don't maybe match up necessarily to something in the guidelines. Like, how do we think through this critically? So that's you, you want to get into audit and compliance like that, this is something you want to sign up for, and it's coming up soon. It's a little over 2 weeks. And just a full disclosure, I do get a small commission if anyone signs up with the coupon code. Oop, that's not what I wanted to close up. Okay. Oh, Jeanette. So I don't know if you asked this before earlier or someone else asked this because I think I saw someone else ask very similar question to this. So I want to sit for the CRC or the CPMA. Which do you recommend? I have my CPC, CPB, and an RHIA. It really depends on what direction you want to go into. If you are like heavenly in love with ICD-10 CM, or you want to just work on something that's like a little less I don't wanna say less intense, but you only wanna have to focus on one code set. because you're just doing ICD-10, you wanna focus on diagnoses, like, I have a love and a passion for ICD-10 versus CPT. So, think CRC is a great option for that. But if you wanna go into the more prestigious, more involved, more provoking, more provider interactive potentially side of things. You want to work with providers, you want to dive into the documentation, you want to find out the areas that can be improved, you want to look at those intense guidelines. That's where you want to go more for your CPMA certification. If you're looking at it purely from a financial standpoint, like, which is probably gonna wind up with me with higher pay, I would probably go CPMA. Hello, 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 saying hi to you there. Can I make a video on compliance and anatomy? I mean, there's so many anatomy videos out there, I don't really think I would need to, and I'm not the compliance guru, I really am more the ICD, 10 CPT, HCPCS girly. So yeah, if you're looking for compliance, I would say, is there a spot on my cheek here? What the heck's going on? If you're into compliance, I would 110% tell you to check out Sean Weiss, the Compliance Guy podcast. It's on all of the major podcast platforms, and he does, I believe, a video podcast. I'll show you kind of what it looks like so you know you're picking the right one. But I've met Sean, and he's very delightful, and he is the information he provides is like current current insights, current trends, like stuff that coders should be aware of, stuff that physicians should be aware of, a lot of healthcare law stuff. So compliance. Where's buttons? No, that's not the button. This is the button. Pull the lever, Kronk. Yeah, so this is the Compliance Guy, podcast. Sean's way up here, Victoria's way down here, like, Sean, Victoria. Um, but yeah, he does some great compliance information. Um, let's see. Yeah, Sean is great. Hi, please suggest what can be done after CPC, currently looking in FQHC. So there's a lot of different regions that you can go into. There are a lot of different regions that you can go into with having your CPC. And it really depends on what direction you want to head into. If you like billing, your CPB is there. Not a lot of employers will necessarily ask for the CPB, but it will demonstrate that you have some proficiency in that area in billing. If you love ICD-10 CM, you can go into your CRC. If you would like to eventually go into auditing, there's the CPMA certification. There's specialties. If there's a certain specialty you like, if you like family practice, if you like general surgery, if you like cardiology, there's lots of different specialty certifications that you can get with the AAPC. And the nice thing about that is then, you're already paying membership dues. So even if you get 2, 3, 4 certifications, you don't have to pay extra membership dues. You have to get extra continuing education units, but um, you do not have to pay extra membership dues. It's the same membership dues every year. So if you look here under certifications, you can find all the different certifications that the AAPC provides. If money is a concern for you as far as like your salary, you can take a look at, let me just go over here quick. You can take a look at AAPC salary survey, which I just went over in a video a couple days ago, and they will break down for you some of the certifications that they offer and some of the different pay scales for those positions. So yeah, if we look here, boop, you can see, like, if you're looking to move towards a higher income, some of the certifications that would be better for that are like a CPCO if you want to go towards compliance, if you're interested in compliance. That doesn't mean that you just if you get the credential, you make $80,000 a year. You would have to be accepted into a compliance officer position, work your way up, have some years of experience because these are again averages. So that's some things to think about too. Grant says, I have a serious concern about my CPC exam. Me and my friends took it 15th of March. All of them received the results except for me. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no information I can provide for you that would be of any help other than you have to work through the AAPC. There's no extra secret phone number you can call. There's nothing I can do to look into it. You really do have to work with the AAPC and just, sorry to say, but be patient. Nicole, if you have questions about code, I would direct you specifically to contact info@codehealth, KODEHEALTH.com, because they can give you the most current information about what's going on with their organization and if they have work right now and what sort of projects they have and what sort of coders that they're looking for. ZL, hi Victoria, thanks for what you do. Your videos are so educational and helpful. I appreciate that. Christina says, not really a question, but I'm a student taking medical coding and billing class. My teacher and I absolutely love you and are so thankful with how helpful you are. I appreciate that. Yeah. So if you are ever in a class, teaching a class, and have concepts that are difficult, and you think, gosh, it would be so great if we had Victoria make a YouTube video about this type of concept, let me know. Doesn't guarantee that, I'm the expert on it and I'll be able to do it, but I always love to have a data bank of things that I know people are interested in seeing some additional content on. Is my microphone purple too? You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I am so mad. I bought this microphone. The microphone is, I think it's just reflecting purple. It is like a steely gray kind of black microphone, and I bought this because there was a rose gold one, but it was out of stock, and of course, a week later, I go and check the website, and the rose gold one is back in stock. There was a little part of me that wanted to ship this back and get the other one. Took my CPC exam and I lost by 8 marks. Oh, that's close. That's so close. I mean, I guess if you're gonna, miss it, it's better to miss just by a small amount of questions than by, hordes and hordes of them. So I have a whole video that's on my channel about kind of what to do if you've not passed your first attempt or not passed your most recent attempt. Let's see if I can find it. And that's where I kind of give all of my after you haven't been successful in passing the exam. It is keep hitting the wrong camera. Um, it's this one right here. It says what to do when you fail the CPC exam, pass your next attempt, and become a medical coder. Yeah, so if you're looking for tips on the CPC exam, all the best tips I have are in my videos. I don't really have like secrets that I hold back from anyone that I'm like, oh, well, I left this back. Especially for you, this is the secret on how you do it. Everything's is pretty much in the videos. So what you can do is you go to the main channel page, you go to playlists. There is a whole playlist on, hold on a second. There is a whole playlist. Let me bring it over here because it looks different on mine because I'm logged into my account. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Here we go. So if you go to the main channel page, CPC exam tips, there's a whole playlist that you can watch, and those are all of my best tips for the CPC exam. The exam changes from last year's education to this year's, case studies, book tabbing, and then it even breaks down by like, I have a whole thing on case studies. I have even ICD-10 CM guidelines, like the whole set of ICD-10 CM guideline instructions. Yeah, the process of elimination is really very helpful, and I'm hoping to make some more short form videos that are gonna explicitly go through the, um the process of elimination and just, like, real kind of quick scenarios for those. Herman's asking, "I'm a biller. Which organization is better to be certified through, AAPC or AHIMA?" Um, I mean, I don't think AHIMA's an incorrect association to be affiliated with if you have it's good if you wanna get into inpatient coding or you wanna get your RHIT, so your associate's degree through an accredited resource and then apply for your RHIT, or if you wanna get your RHIA or, what is the master's degree one? RH, Registered Health Information. Oh gosh, I can't think of of it off the top of my head. But in any case, um, that would be more through AHIMA. AAPC has some more billing information than I think AHIMA does. They have a billing certification. While billing positions don't necessarily require certifications, if you're looking to get certified, AAPC might be a little bit better for you if you want to get your CPB or your CPC if you don't have it. The other one that's good in kind of billing scenarios is mm, the CRCR, which is through HFMA, I believe, or revenue cycle. Um, the material to study for that though, I'll tell you, is like super, super dry. Like if you think the AAPs are kind of rough, like the CRCR is it's almost entirely text-based. So it's a little something else. Oh no. Oh, the program has been updated. Okay. So yeah, that's through HFMA. That's a good one too. It's really growing in popularity. Um, any tips on notes in your book? So here's my thought processes. Um, when you're sitting for the exam, a lot of people have whole processes on how they notate their book, highlight their book, underline their book, tab their book. Um, a lot of coders, though, once they kind of settle in and are more into their positions, they don't usually tab and highlight and mark their books. I typically don't have a lot of notes in my books. I don't have a lot of highlighting in my books. If I were to advise someone on how what they think would be the best way to notate their book, I always direct you to CCO. The first to kind of develop this, what they call the BAT technique, the bubble highlight annotate technique. Other people have basically taken that idea and then tweaked it and called it their own and pretended like they developed it. Or, you know, I'm not even going to get into that because I don't like to get into medical coding drama. But all I'm gonna say is they're the OG. They're the ones that originally developed this. I don't like to step on the toes of things that other people have created from scratch because I know how hard it can be to create some of these things, and I know oh, I don't know, but I can imagine how painstaking it has been for Laureen to develop this technique in, the appropriate ways. So, if you're looking for a way to highlight your notes to what to notate in your book, this is what I would direct you to is to go to CCO and get access to their bad information because that's better than what I would probably be able to develop. And I'm certainly again not going to develop my own technique and pretend like I invented it and really it was just derived from them. What do you do with your old textbooks from year to year? Is there reason to keep outdated material? So, yes, absolutely, because remember, audits can go back years and years and years and years and years. So a lot of people will out of focus. A lot of people will keep them if they are working in an auditor capacity and they want to. Sorry, I'm trying to. There we go. A lot of people will keep them if they're working in an audit capacity and they know they might have to look at medical records from 5, 6 years ago. Um, I personally will keep, I think, my current year, my previous year, and then anything else I throw in the recycle bin. I actually had someone inbox me recently and they're like, "Hey, is there a website that I can sell these or something like my old code books?" No. There really isn't a market for them. You know, the best case is you either recycle them, you upcycle them. So I've seen people like roll them up and turn them into wreaths, or if you have a educational institution near you, oftentimes they especially if they're like an inner city program and they're teaching medical coding, sometimes the students can't afford books and donations of older yearbooks is all they have to learn from. In fact, when I learned medical coding, I didn't have my own code books. We had some donated older code books sitting on a bookshelf, and when I had coding class, I was allowed to take some of the books off the bookshelf to use those for. So yeah, there's really nothing that you can do as far as selling them. They're not really worth anything. Yeah, those 4 hours for any of the AAPC exams go by, like, pretty fast. Next month, I have the CPC exam. Please give me some tips and high score. Yeah, so the best tips that you're going to find are going to be on the channel. So those are all the tips that I have. They're all compiled, all recorded. Nothing has changed on them since recording them. So if you're interested in my best CPC exam tips, they are on the main channel page, and they are on the section of the playlist here that says CPC exam tips. Oh, the practice exam. Yeah, so I do have some practice material if you are interested. So if you go to contempocoding.com under my courses, I don't teach a full medical coding course, but I do teach some exam reviews on demand. So if you go to courses, there is a CPC review and practice exam that's for sale for 29.99. It is 8 hours, it is on demand, it breaks down the different chapters, some exam strategies, and then it does include a practice exam that you can download as well. So, fairly affordable. Not free like the YouTube channel, but fairly affordable. Um, Trying to think what else. You could also check your local chapters. Sometimes the local chapters will host CPC prep classes or prep classes for other various credentials, usually on a fairly affordable basis. So this is a great question. So once you get certified, do you have to do anything to keep certification, and does anyone remind you? So yes, there are a couple of things you have to do to maintain your certification. So first, and we're going to talk AAPC because I'm going to assume this is a uh, discussion about the CPC certification. So what in order to take the CPC exam, you have to become a member of the AAPC, right? And in order to keep your certification, you have to maintain membership, which means you have to pay membership dues to the AAPC every single year. They will send you notifications in your email, so you have to make sure that your email address is up to date in your AAPC account. I suggest making sure that it's set to your personal email and not a work email, because if for any reason you would get fired and not have access to that email account anymore, you would miss those notifications saying, "Hey, Victoria, don't forget that you have to pay for your membership dues, et cetera, et cetera." So set that up to your personal account. So you have to pay your membership dues. You also have to submit continuing education units. So the continuing education units are 36 every other year, and that can change. So sometimes if you are hired for an organization, they will put you on what they call a corporate membership, where they have a certain amount of slots. Maybe they have a coding department of 10 people, so they buy 10 slots. Well, if Joy leaves and Kim comes into that place, Joy will be taken off of that corporate membership, and they'll prorate her membership dues that she has to pay because the corporation's not paying for them anymore, and her CEUs. So sometimes your CEU dates can change if you're put on a corporate membership or taken off one. So your date might change and your amount due might change. So you have to pay attention to that. They will also notify you in your AAPC account. So if there's something on there that is specifically for, excuse me, for notifications about, don't forget that your membership dues, like pop-ups will come up when you log onto the AAPC account. You don't want to allow your CEUs to lapse, and you don't want to allow your membership to lapse. In some cases, they will say like, "Oh, if it's only been, a couple of weeks," you have like a little bit of a grace period. And if you don't have enough continuing education units, which you would get through like chapter meetings or quizzes or webinars, you can pay for an extension. The extension is like $50, I think, for an extra 30 days. So it'll wind up costing you some extra money. So it's important to keep up with your membership, keep up with your CEUs. Otherwise, you could wind up paying extra for extensions. Or if it continues on, you will lose your credentials. And if it gets to the point where it's been so long that you lose your credentials, you would have to sit for the certification exam all over again. So say, my membership is due next month, I forget to pay it. We start getting into May, June, and then I go, "Oh my gosh, what the heck happened?" In order to get those back, I would have to sit through those certification exams again, pay for them all over again, pay for my membership fee. So it can get very expensive if you lapse in your certifications. Is there one for CRC? So, yeah, so on my website, I have a CRC practice exam and I have a CRC, CPC and CRC. So, yeah, right. Keep hitting that wrong button. Yeah, so that would be the risk adjustment coding exam review. That's the one that I have for the CRC exam. And again, these are reviews. They're not for, "Oh, I wanna learn medical coding. I'm gonna buy this 29.99 review and be ready for the CPC exam." That's not what that's for. This is for, I've already gone through a medical coding course. I wanna review specifically before I sit for the exam, or just to refresh my memory before I sit for the exam, go over some of the high level stuff, go over some of the, scenarios you might see, and so forth. They're not medical coding 101. I'm hoping to get more courses and more continuing ed stuff together, but I've been, like, racing to get ahead of videos lately, and I think I'm finally now at a point where I've got a couple of videos. Well, I've got one video already recorded that needs to get edited for next Thursday, and then I have 2 interviews that I'm going to be doing next week or the week after, so I should hopefully have some videos and get ahead on that, because if I'm not ahead on videos, I can't get courses together. And a lot of, there's a lot of options for Victoria and a lot of people that want my attention for a lot of different things. So I have to be very picky choosy. So if you have an AAPC certification, it's not too hard to get your CEUs if you stay on top of them. The AAPC gives you a subscription to their magazine that comes every month. You can get it digitally or you can get it in the mail. They'll automatically assign you to a digital version. And actually, let me go in and I can kind of show you what it looks like. Under resources, I think they have it. Yeah. Here. So if you go onto your AAPC website, there is a section here for Healthcare Business Monthly. And Healthcare Business Monthly is their magazine that publishes every month. I have lots of articles published in Healthcare Business Monthly over the years. Um, and you can see the current issue here. You can download it. They have the archive, and then they have these test yourself quizzes. So you can get a CEU every month from doing these test yourselves. They have some quarterly webinars, or I guess they don't call them quarterly anymore. There's some members only webinars, 4 of which come out a year. And you can get those. Um, Chapter meetings. So there's the AAPC has chapters all across the United States. Basically every major city has one. And there's meetings there. A lot of them they're conducted via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So you can log in, absorb the information, and then you get continuing education units for that. There's uh, what else? There's magazines you can subscribe to. There's organizations that have subscriptions that, if you subscribe for X amount of dollars, will give you webinars. There's Billing Coding Advantage magazine, which you can buy a subscription for. I want to say it's maybe 80 or somewhere between 80 to 120 a year. I can't remember exactly. And then they'll give you webinars and all kinds of things to get CEUs. So there's lots of different ways to get CEUs. The AAPC also has, webinar subscriptions you can buy and all kinds of stuff, conferences and that. Is it mandatory to get an AAPC membership if you want to sit through for any AAPC exam, CPC, CPB, COC, CRC, anything through any AAPC certification, you have to be a member in order to sit for those exams, and you have to be a member to stay certified. So if at any point you would not pay your membership, you lose your credentials. Hey, good night to you over in India. Yeah, Jeanette says I purchased your CPC review practice exam before sitting for the CPC exam, and it was very helpful. I'm glad. Thank you for that endorsement. But yeah, if you are interested at all in getting into medical coding as a career, it's something that you're thinking about, you're not sure what school to go to, you can sign up for my there we go. You can sign up for my medical coding masterclass. And it gives you that full roadmap. It tells you about the salary, what the jobs are like, what the certifications are that you should go for. And then it tells you about Preppy, which is the program that I like fully endorse. I worked with Grant on making sure that it is like the premier program that I can send everyone to, that it's going to have everything that they need, that it's going to have the right customer service, that it's going to have the right information for them. It's going to prepare them for the certification exam. And the thing that I especially love about the Preppy program is they have externships available, which like you can't find that through the majority of programs out there. And some of the ones that you can, they're like mock internships. It's like, oh, hey, sit in this module, and then they give you cases like a patient walks through the front door. Do you have them sign a sign a HIPAA waiver? Like that's not what this is. These are like actual internships, externships, whatever you want to call them. It's oftentimes interchangeable. Oh, Tina, that's excited. That is exciting. So you meet with your instructor on April 8th to schedule the exam for May. Oh my gosh, well, that's coming up. That'll be here before you know it. Absolutely be here before you know it. That's exciting. Anna has a great question about jobs, what to do when you're a green coder, you're looking for a remote position as a coder being new, and you encounter, of course, that situation that is not exclusive to medical coding. A lot of people pretend like this only happens in our industry, and it doesn't. There are so many people that I have encountered that spent 4 years on bachelor's degrees, come out, and they're like, well, no one will hire me because I don't have experience. So it's not exclusive to medical coding, but we do certainly see a lot of it. Some of the best tips I would say if you're looking to get into the field. So I started out. I didn't start out in medical coding. That was like my third job in the line. I started out in charge entry, moved into accounts receivable, and then from accounts receivable into medical coding. So oftentimes you have to get those positions where you know, oftentimes you get now I just lost my train of thought because I was reading through the comments. What were we talking about? Oh my gosh. Um, we were talking about Jobs, oh my gosh. So, oftentimes, we're biased, like, we know that we're awesome, and we wanna get a job as a medical coder right away because that's what we went to school for, is coding. And it's frustrating, but oftentimes you have to take some positions that involve coding, but maybe aren't medical coding positions. So looking in working in accounts receivable, working in registration, where you're starting to get familiar with the electronic medical records, where you're starting to get familiar with how physicians' notes are formatted and what they look like in a real life situation versus a textbook situation. Um, so look for that. What you can do is I have a video that I just produced a couple of weeks ago because I had to do an updated version where I talk about some of the different ways that you can look for jobs, but check Indeed.com. What I suggest is if you go to a website like Indeed.com, or you can even search for jobs on LinkedIn, is if instead of searching for medical coder or medical coding, you search for like ICD-10 CM, it'll include all of the jobs that are looking for that as a skill set. So while a lot of them will be medical coding jobs, you might find some other jobs in the healthcare field where they're just like, hey, we need someone who knows ICD-10 CM or CPT, and isn't necessarily a coding position. But the video that I have is medical coding salary, CEUs, getting back. Oh, maybe I didn't do. I thought I did an updated jobs video. Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, so this is the one that I would recommend to you. How to find your first job in 2023. Danny is asking, can you please clarify the difference between the RHIT and RHIT plus? I'm currently pursuing my RHIT, however, I'm not sure what type of changes. Yeah, that I don't have certification through AHIMA. I'm not familiar with RHIT plus. So unfortunately that's not one I'm able to provide assistance on. I would check the best I could say is check the AHIMA website. I'm not familiar with it. Jeffy, yes, it is mandatory to get the AAPC membership as I stated earlier. What if we have medical office experience? If you have medical office experience, I would just say make sure that that is reflected appropriately on your resume. Specifically, if you had any experience looking at patient encounters, reviewing medical records, um, inputting insurance information, following any kind of insurance guidelines, about pre-authorizations, like make sure that anything that could translate itself into medical coding or be seen as valuable in a medical coding setting is reflected in your resume. Um, yeah. How long do I recommend taking your time to study for the CPC exam? You know what? It's a very subjective thing. I've seen some people who are maybe LPNs. I've known people who were LPNs and went to a 3-day workshop and then tested for their exam and passed and were great coders. Um, I've known other people that, I think average is anywhere from 3 months to 9 months. I think probably 3 to 6 is typical. Hey, Pam. Yeah, happy Friday. What do you think of my green St. Patrick's Day green glow I got going on here? You know what? Speaking of resumes, so, I have a lot of people that are interested in getting their resumes done. I always send them over to projectresume.net because they do resumes just for medical coders and they're great. But I'm wondering if I should do some more resume-oriented things, and I have two thoughts on this. I could either bring in the girl from Project Resume and have her talk about resumes and what she sees and the kind of some tips. Second thought is I I know, see, Lori's gonna pinch me for not wearing green. I know. My personal trainer was yelling at me this morning too because I showed up in purple pants and a black shirt. But the second thing I thought about doing is not necessarily a resume workshop, But if maybe some people wanted to maybe send me their resumes, and I'll take out your personal information, and we could, like, go over it, and I could go, "Okay, here's what I would fix, here's what I would fix," and kind of almost do like a almost like a video workshop review where I'm like, "Okay, here's some things I noticed. This person didn't put their credentials behind their name at the top of the resume, or they spelled HIPAA wrong here, or, that was too long, and here," kind of work through how I would improve them. So those are my 2 thoughts. Definitely let me know if you think one of those would be better, if you want me to, like, bring on a resume expert to talk about resumes on the channel, or if you, would like me to dive into some sample resumes that people send me, and we could take a look at them and go, "Hey, what should we fix here?" And, obviously take out their name and address or any personal information they might have there. Renee says, I'm currently enrolled in the CPC program with AAPC. I'm having a difficult time finding the CPT codes in the index. Any tips? So, some of the things you have to think about is, um, are there alternative words? If we're looking for a certain word, is that the right word we're supposed to be looking for? Are we looking under, if we're looking for excision of a lesion. Are we looking under lesion or are we looking under excision? Because we'll probably do better under excision. The other thing you have to think about, and hold on one second, because I'm going to run and grab my CPT book. I was going to put background music on today, and I totally forgot to do it. So the other thing I want to mention is, ICD-10-CM, we have specific guidelines of how we're of how we're supposed to look up a code. You have to go to the alphabetic index and then look it up in the tabular and verify and read all the. There is no official guideline like that in CPT. We do not have to start in the index when we're looking for a code. So sometimes if you're having trouble finding something, like let's say you're looking for something and it's like a digestive system code, instead of instead of going into the index, you can just go to your digestive system section. So if I'm looking at something and I know it's something in the digestive, like I'm looking for the code for removal of a polyp in the colon, like I would could just go right here to my digestive system section. I could go into the table of contents, and I could go, okay, well, it was in the colon and it was an excision. Let me just start over here on this page and then go from there. You don't have to look up things in the index. I know sometimes people will, or instructors will train you that that's the way that you have to do it, but most coders who work in surgeries, they are not looking up in the index. They just go to that section of CPT. If it's cardiology, they're in the cardiology section. If it's something that's E&M, they just go to the E&M section. They're not looking it up in the index. So sometimes it's easier to just look right into that specific section in CPT. Yeah, so I've got some people saying, yeah, they would donate their resumes. Yeah, I would do that. Like I said, I don't know that I would wanna necessarily have it be like a workshop. I think it would more be like, donate it to me, I'll do it on video, again, scrub out all the personal information, and we can, kinda look at that and go, "What would we fix here?" Hi, Ruhi. So yeah, that would be great. I would love to do that, but I don't have the licensing rights from the AMA to take all of their guidelines because it is copyrighted. Is there any way to speak with me? Right now, I am not doing one-on-one sessions. I'm not doing consultations. My schedule's pretty much booked with the YouTube videos and the content that I have created. So I don't have capacity to handle one-on-ones right now. So unfortunately, yeah, I can't if you're looking for someone to help you with exam prep or anything like that. Unfortunately, I'm not available. Um, Casper, would you recommend going with training directly through AAPC for CPC or through a community college? I understand that it doesn't matter, and the main thing is for your certification status rather than education. Yeah, so you know, there is an element of importance to where you get educated. Ultimately, what most employers are looking for is that CPC certification, but it certainly looks a lot better if you went to a community college or through the AEPC versus I went to, the Superior Berg Girl Boss Academy of Awesomeness boot camp and learned how to cheat my way through the exam for, whatever. That's going to look a lot better on your resume, a community college or even the AEPC versus, Medical Coding Girl Boss Academy. But not saying some people probably haven't been successful with that, but if you think about it for something about in the context of you know, you're going to the dentist and the person who's going to be cleaning your teeth, would you rather them have taken a weekend workshop at the Girl Boss Dental Academy, or would you rather that they have gone through a college program specifically on how to do that, right? So you just kind of think of it among those kind of concepts. Um, Either are great options. Oftentimes, one of the benefits of community college is you can get, scholarships or grants, financial aid. The AAPC does have like payment programs they can offer you. Oftentimes, that the AAPC, they have a good success rate with their students. They're the ones who write the exam, so they can give you probably the best information on how to pass it. And if you're ever interested, and again, sponsored, and this would certainly never force anyone into, but I know it's a good program because I've vetted it. I've worked very closely with people. Like anytime someone has a complaint, I'm like right back at them. But look into medicalcodingmasterclass.com and you can find out more about the preppy program. They're awesome as well. By the way, you know what? While I'm looking here at my little pop-uppy things, um, people have been asking me. I have a shirt that says "Badass Medical Coder" on it that I was posting on LinkedIn recently. I do have channel merchandise available, so if you want, like, a hashtag medical coder t-shirt or if you want something with a little funny slogan on it to help support the channel, I do have those. Let's see. Oh, if you go and I know this is different on mobile, but if you're on, like, a desktop, it's here on store. Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to reload. That little store button, and sometimes it'll even display, like, right underneath the video, there'll be the little pictures of the shirts and coffee mugs and what have you. But yeah. And, yeah, so all the merch is available for purchase, the Contempo coding merch if you want the hashtag medical decoder t-shirt and what have you. And while I'm here, don't forget the NAMUS conference is coming up. You can use code Victoria10 for 10% off registration. There's gonna be so much, like, good E&M content there too, like high level awesome E&M content. I was an EMT for a year. Would that help with my chances of getting into the biblical billing coding industry? I don't have the CPC cert. Um, it would certainly put you ahead, and then God, hats off to you. One of my oldest, dearest friends, Nikki, is an EMT, and she's just the most one of the most amazing women that I know, and I don't think sees that in herself some days, but, it 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 destroys me how underpaid emergency medical technicians are. Destroys me some days. Sad. But if you're interested in getting into medical coding, yeah, that's gonna be helpful because, you're probably familiar with all those med terms and medications, and so there's a lot of things that you can either skip or gloss over. I would still go for the CPC certification. You could probably find something that's more affordable, especially since you aren't going to need some of those prerequisites, right? Um, but I would say it would definitely increase your job chances. I think people love to hire coders that have some kind of healthcare or medical background, um, even if it's working in registration and working as an EMT, I think will look absolutely phenomenal. I'm trying to think if I think I have known a couple of coders that used to be EMTs. I know I have. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head, but I've definitely known some people that worked in the revenue cycle and worked as coders that used to be EMTs. But yeah, so we are at the hour. It is 3 o'clock. So I will hopefully be back next week. I don't think I have anything going on next Friday, so I should be back. Keep an eye out for the alerts on YouTube, on the alerts on Facebook, alerts on what's the other one? LinkedIn. Alerts on LinkedIn. I will see you guys next week, and until then, just keep on coding on.